Hey, everybody, welcome to the fifth episode of the Walk in the Spirit podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about worship. In particular, we're going to be talking about worship beyond the barriers of music. Obviously, based on the title, worship isn't just music. Now, what does that mean? Yes, we can listen to praise songs, we can listen to worship music. That's all good. That's awesome. We're praising God, we're exalting Him, we're putting Him on a level higher than us. That's amazing. But what does true worship look like? In the book of John chapter 4, Jesus does not speak of worship being just music. Jesus speaks about worshiping the Father in spirit and truth. Now, what does that mean? Now, I have a few verses I would like to share with you guys. The first verse is from Romans chapter 12, starting at verse 1. Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Now, what is Paul saying here? Paul's saying that true worship is offering your bodies as a living sacrifice, per se, or submitting yourself fully to God. Now, what does that look like? That could look like me getting up every day, and instead of starting off my day without praying to God and just doing whatever I want, maybe it's starting off your day and praying to God, or starting off your day and reading a couple of verses from the Bible. Now, when it says offering your bodies as a living sacrifice, that also means to submit yourself fully to God, including all your plans. So that can mean, say for example, I plan on going to the park. I plan on going to the park, and then afterward I plan to go out to eat. Instead of me focusing all those on my plans, you would pray to God and give all of your life, all of your things, all of your belongings, all of your plans, give them all to God. Because God has a plan set for you each and every day of your life. And it doesn't matter what you plan on doing, God has a better plan for you. And the greatest thing to be doing is to be submitting to His will. Because Paul says right after that, he says, this is your true and proper worship. Yes, we should be bowing down before God. Yes, we should be singing and exalting God, just like how they did back then with psalms and hymns, praying to God, even in prison. But here, in today's culture, we seem to get it wrapped around worship being you just singing to God and listening to worship music and just following Him based on what some songs say. Which, not gonna lie, following what the songs say and just worshiping God out loud, like singing to Him with all of your heart, with all your mind, with all your strength, that's amazing. That's awesome. That's worship. That's amazing. But there's no way that God puts it down to that being worship alone. Worship is much deeper than that. Worship is sacrificing ourselves to God, giving up our will, our life, our authority, our permission, our will, our plans, giving up everything to God, submitting to God fully. I have another verse. This is from Hebrews 12, verse 1. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. And let us run with perseverance in the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. For the joy set before Him, He endured on the cross, scorning its shame, and He sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. What is this verse saying? This verse is saying that we should be throwing off everything that hinders the sin that so easily entangles us and allows us to be bound. And we should be fixing our eyes on Jesus, submitting to Him, because He's the pioneer and perfecter of faith. He's the one who fixes our faith. He's the one who helps us to discern. He's the one who teaches us. He's the one who guides us. Why would we be calling it worship if we're not even fully submitting to Him? How can we say we submit to God, and yet the day afterward we do not even pray to God? We don't even ask God to intervene in our lives. We don't even ask Him to help us. We don't even ask Him, like, hey God, let this day be in your will. How can we submit to God and yet not even acknowledge what He did or acknowledge that He's above everything? I'm not shaming anybody or judging anybody, but God calls us to much more than just singing worship music. I have another verse for you guys. This is Psalm 95:6. Come, let us bow down and worship. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker. Yes, we bow down before God. Yes, we honor Him. Worship is much deeper than singing music. Worship is submitting yourselves fully to God and being ready to serve Him and being His servant, a servant to a holy master. But God did not call us just to be submitting to Him without anything. God wants us to submit to him out of pure love, pure joy, pure peace, and pure holiness. Not to say that God doesn't love us, but God is so holy, he's so perfect, he's so loving, he's so just, and he sacrificed everything for us that he deserves our worship. He deserves our praises. He deserves our life. He deserves our attention to him. And when God speaks of these verses, he's saying that he wants us as Christians, as believers, he wants us to submit ourselves for him. We're not supposed to be just singing songs and then going off our day living like the world. He wants us to submit ourselves to him, to put our plans, our life, school, finances, home, relationships, school, and anything else that may hinder that. He wants us to submit ourselves fully to him and give everything in our lives to him. Because if you just trust in God, he can work it out for the better. Romans 8:28, I believe, speaks of Jesus working things for good. I might be wrong on that verse, but let me know in the comments if I'm wrong or not. But yes, the Bible speaks of us bowing down in worship, singing hymns and psalms to God. That's amazing. That is a form of worship. However, true worship is submission to God. True worship is serving God. True worship is worshiping him in the spirit and in truth, the way Jesus does. Now, in this verse where Jesus is speaking of telling other people to bow down and worship and let us kneel before the Lord our Maker, yes, we bow down and worship. Because bowing down is a way of showing, hey, you are an all-powerful God. I bow myself before you. I sacrifice everything for you. You are my God, and I'm going to submit to you and serve you. That is what that is entailing. It's not just singing songs. It's just not just singing praise music. It's truly bowing down before God, truly submitting to him, and truly knowing who he is. And as we're worshiping, we get to know more about God. Because even if you listen to these worship songs, as well as reading the book of Psalms and Proverbs, it has a lot of inspirational verses. It speaks of in Psalms how the Lord is our rock and our firm foundation. In Proverbs, it speaks about God's love. It speaks about how his mercy and his grace. It speaks about how holy he is. All these things are very inspirational. And some Psalms and hymns and Proverbs, they're songs. They're poems to God. And we should be saying them. It's amazing. But true worship is submission. I'd really encourage you guys to do this week. When you guys go through this week, I encourage you guys to read one psalm a day. Each morning you wake up, I want you guys to read a psalm. It doesn't matter what it is, any psalm. And I want you guys to reflect on it and ask yourselves, what does this mean when I apply it to God? Who is God? And what is he entailing with this verse? And I want you guys to let me know what you guys think. I'm going to end this podcast off here with these words. May Jesus be with you. And I pray that you all may worship God. And I pray that you guys continue in your walk with Christ. I love you all. And have a great day. I'll see y'all later. Peace out.